Y'all thought that I was just gonna drop one video? Are you serious? You thought I was gonna release one video and expect y'all to learn how to mix by giving y'all one Pro Tools template? Are you serious? What's up, guys? Hey, we're back at it with a fresh new video covering some pretty key things, I personally think. Today, we're gonna break down two things, with number one being how I mixed radio-ready vocals using a $50 microphone. I didn't say 550. I didn't say 1,500. I said a 50, right? $50. Crazy. And the second thing I want to break down is you thinking you have to have a $1,000, $10,000, $50,000 setup to get really good sounding vocals. That's one of the things that I personally struggle with as I was coming up. I thought that I had to have the best, the latest, the greatest. You really don't have to have a huge budget to get a really good sound. Let's jump into it. The session that I'm going to use in this example is going to be a track by EVERYSECND, a super talented artist here in South Carolina. If you haven't heard his music, do yourself a favor and go check it out right now. So sometimes what he'll do is he'll record at his place. He's found a $50 microphone. It totally blew my mind because it actually doesn't sound too bad at all. He's already released the full single. It's out now. I would go check that out if I was you. What I'm gonna do here is I'm not gonna go into super depth about tons of like effects and delays and anything like that. Kind of what I want to do today is just kind of go over how I approach mixing to get a specific full, clean, clear vocal tone. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and play the raw vocal for you guys.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break, and hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate. I was thinking you could be my missus, never a mistake. Had me a hello, but you have yet to mention me a name. Hold on, wait, see you in that.
So as you can tell, he definitely recorded the vocals very good. It's not clipping. Everything was recorded at a good level. It sounds pretty good. So like I mentioned in last video, I normally start with a template. It's very similar to the template that I had pulled up for the last video. If you haven't seen the 5 Pro Tools hacks when recording hip hop, go check that out. I'll have a vocal bus where all my vocals are routed. Have a parallel compression, reverb, slap, 8th delay, 16th delay, a doubler. I personally use a doubler sometimes. You got to be real careful with that. If not, if you don't use it careful, it sounds not good. Then I have some basic delays down here set up. Just these are my personal delays that I've made. But like I said, today what we're gonna cover is how we went from
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break, and hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
to this.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break, and hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate. I was thinking you could be my missus, never a mistake. Had me a hello.
What I normally start off with, and then I also have some things on the actual vocal tracks as well. Use a lo-fi, just kind of gives you a analog feel, auto-tune, just a EQ, and literally all this Cambridge EQ is doing. Looks like I was rolling off a decent amount here, a little past 100 hertz. I normally don't do that, but depending on the vocal, may sound good. So it looks like I'm rolling off right at 105 hertz. And then you get down here to your compression. I like using the UAD compressor. It just kind of glues the things together. And then we got a little bit of flange. Sometimes like on a track like this, it's kind of vibey. I'll put a basic, and this is a stock Pro Tools plugin, just a little bit of flange, just kind of give kind of a little bounce. A de-esser. The air EQ, I'm boosting 0.5 dB or 0.4 dB. So, just a little bump. You got to be careful with that. If you boost it too high, it's going to start getting real brittle. And then I wrapped it up with it's a Dsp Plugin. This is something that I learned from Seth Firkins, is one of Future's engineers. And just kind of gives you, this is another plugin that kind of gives you just a fullness. It kind of works like a vocal rider. If you guys have ever heard of the Waze vocal rider, it just kind of solidifies the vocal and just kind of gives it a cool characteristic. And as we get up here to the vocal bus, what we have, and this looks very similar in every session, like extremely similar. Obviously, I'm going to go in and adjust all these per session, but all these plugins, this is the exact template that I use for every session. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I normally just start off with the Pro EQ. And you can use the stock Pro Tools EQ. I just personally like using the Pro EQ. So you can see here I'm rolling off right at 75 hertz. You really don't want that rumble, especially if it was recorded in a home. You're probably going to get a little bit of room tone, that type of stuff in there. You really don't need that. Sometimes this may be rolled down to 55. It just kind of depends on your vocal. My compressor is the RVox.
A mistake. Had me a hello, but you have yet to mention me a name. Hold on, wait.
The RVox just makes the vocal really solid. It just kind of solidifies the vocal. This is one of my personal favorite compressors. What I'll do, I'm normally hitting right at about 6 dB of compression. We jump down here. I got another instance of the Pro EQ. And what I'm doing here, this is another thing that I learned from Jason Joshua through his Instagram. This one actually may have been through a Pensado's Place. So shout out to Pensado's Place. I've learned a ton of stuff through Pensado's Place. But he was just kind of talking about the Weeknd's vocals. And he was just kind of talking about a low shelf rather than a hard cut, because I mean, if you're cutting that much, I mean, you're cutting a lot of stuff that could be useful in the vocal. So what I learned in that Pensado's Place is that he actually does a low shelf to kind of just clean up some of the muddiness.
If you need something different, babe, just say, cause you getting me day to day, all day.
And then we jump down here to the Dsp multiband compressor. It looks like this is just kind of on there. Looks like I may have boosted a little bit in the low end. It's probably not even noticeable. Like I said, this is just a template that I use. You know, if I'm not using the plugin, it could just be sitting there. It just gives me a peace of mind. Don't judge me. Next thing that we got is a C6. And what this is doing is it is just kind of taking some of the harsh frequencies. I'll mute it.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
Same thing here. I got another instance of C6, just kind of hitting some other frequencies.
I was thinking you could be my missus, never a mistake. Had me a hello, but you have yet to mention me.
As you can tell, these are super subtle. The fat filter, multi-band compressor, just taming some of these harsh frequencies.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
Move on to the next one. What I started using, this is another Jason Joshua tip. I'm telling you guys, if you don't follow his Instagram, you're missing some jewels. Sometimes he'll throw some hashtags on there that changes the game. I started using this thing, and it's got a compressor, and these are the only two that I'm using. A little bit of compression, and I've got it on the spank setting.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break
with it.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a...
I've also got a little bit of high end just to kind of help the vocal cut through the mix. Jump down here to the Clearphonic. It's a EQ by Kush Audio. This is a tip that I picked up from the one and only Maddox Chim. Shout out to Maddox. What this is doing, I mean, it's nothing really crazy.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. I've been playing catch up till...
Just adding a little bit of clarity here. And one of the cool things about this is I feel like it kind of widens the vocal just a touch. And we'll jump down here to the L1 limiter. This is the Waves plugin. This really isn't doing much either. It's just kind of taming the vocals.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate. I was thinking, I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella...
Just kind of keeping the vocals in check. I've got my vocal bus routed to my all vocal bus, which is where I kind of start adding some EQ. So a lot of this is cutting. A lot of this is just kind of cutting the harsh frequencies, which honestly, whenever you're cutting frequencies, that's about 90% of the battle. 90 to 98% of the battle. I just try to make sure that all my frequencies are tamed more so than just trying to boost things to make them sound better. That's something that I learned over the past couple of years that has totally changed the game for me. Then I got the R compressor here, just a little bit more compression just to make sure that the vocals are in check.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
The SSL channel EQ, the E channel is what I'm using here. Looks like what I did is I just rolled off a little bit of low end to make sure that the nastiness was cleared up, added some high end, added some mid-range.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break.
Now with it,
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
Another SSL EQ. It looks like what I'm doing here is I'm boosting a little bit in the 400 range with a narrow band. Kind of what this is doing. For me personally, I like having full vocals. This is like a fullness frequency that I've personally started using.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate. I was thinking, I've been playing catch up till... I've been playing catch up till... I've been playing catch up to...
And just adds a little bit of beef to the vocals. And don't go overboard here, because if you do go overboard in this frequency, it's going to make it muddy, and that's not what you want. It looks like I've also boosted a touch of mid-range here. And one of the last things that I have on this vocal bus is the Pro Q3. I love this plugin. Super cool. Some people say, you need to listen with your ears, not with your eyes. I agree with that. But me personally, I'll be honest, I'm a visual kind of guy. I like kind of seeing where things are at. And one of the cool things about this Pro EQ3, and I will say this, I mean, this entire time I've been listening with my ears. This is just kind of like a final check just to make sure my ears aren't tricking me. You know, I may not be in a treated room, just kind of want to throw this on here to make sure that all my frequencies are leveled out. These look like they're pretty subtle.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate. I was thinking, I've been playing catch up till I catch.
And this is just a plug-in to make sure that my verses and my hooks are the same level, and then my imager to kind of just widen the vocal a little bit. So this is where we were.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted.
And this is where we have got to.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
I'm going to run through this pretty quick. Just going to dive into some parallel compression. Kind of what this is going to do, it's just going to help beefing up the vocals. What I'll do is I'll make a send track to my parallel compression. I personally use a 1176. The blue face, this is actually the Waves plugin version of it. And just the L1 limiter to kind of make sure that there's no frequency sticking out through this compression. Kind of what we're doing here is we're compressing the heck out of the vocals and just kind of blending it back in. So without the parallel compression, let me just play it for you.
Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
Now with it,
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break.
just adds a little bit of thickness to your vocals, a little bit of fullness. And what I've done here, the reverb that I use in this track is the H reverb. It was a preset. It's under vocals, focus lead vocal. Super solid preset. And then I spread it out just a little bit with the S1.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break.
Just kind of gives you that nice wavy reverb sound. All these here are just sends, and they're coming out of the vocal bus. So my slap, what I did is I got an Echo Boy, just kind of set at 30 here just to kind of widen the vocal a little bit.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate.
And then these are just kind of fill in delays. So kind of what I mean by that is just kind of fill in some of the gaps. These are another subtle thing. I've said subtle a ton throughout this video, but honestly, that's really what it is. It's the subtle tweaks. If you combine them all together, if you know what you're doing, you're going to have one really solid track. But what we have here is just the 8th delay, and then with this being a track at 155, I'll obviously drop this down to a 4th delay.
I've been playing.
And the 16th delay will be an 8th delay now, because the beat's double time.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feel.
You can kind of hear whenever I pause it, there's a little bit of echo just kind of dragging out a little bit. And like I said, it's just kind of get to create a vibe, create an atmosphere for your vocals. And then the doubler, you can get really crazy with the doubler and it not sound good. What I did here, it's honestly really similar to the basic doubler. Kind of boosted this.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella.
You're just gonna kind of widen the vocal a little bit. You want to kind of blend that to your taste. So I have that at negative 17 dB. So now with everything in there, this is what we got.
I've been playing catch up till I catch a break. Getting hella faded, feeling lifted till I levitate. I was thinking I've been.
So that is how I took a vocal that was recorded on a $50 mic and made that bad boy radio ready. I didn't really cover too much of the slaps, any kind of crazy delays. Really what this was all about was how to lock in a vocal tone that's compatible with things that's getting played on the radio right now. So hopefully this made a little bit of sense. One of the things that I could cover, if this is something that you guys would like to know, just how I do some of the echoes.
See you in that dress and you need center stage. Oh, you need my touch and my caress. I'm on the end.
I can maybe make a video later on about that. But outside of that, guys, this is my exact mixing template for about 90 to 95% of all of my mixes whenever I'm mixing vocals. Hopefully this helped a little bit, guys. Hopefully you feel a little more confident. Hopefully you understand now that you don't need a $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 setup to get some really good sounding vocals, as long as you kind of know what you're doing. Hey, but that's it for this video. Hopefully this added a little bit of value to you. If you haven't yet, if you see fit, scroll down a little bit, click the subscribe button. We'll talk to you guys soon.